So, as many of you know, I have lost my Persians, both of them, in less than a year's time. One was 13 and one was 14. And it has been horrible and very, very heartbreaking. I also broke my ankle, which means that I haven't been out of bed in almost 6 months. I got to the point where I was extremely upset and I was crying all the time between the fact that my ankle was broke and nothing was fixing it and I had to have surgery, which meant re-breaking my ankle, putting in anchors, getting rid of all the scar tissue that had been there, and starting all over from square one. And so I decided I would go ahead and buy another Persian kitty. I saw one that I really liked, and I found one off the CFA, the Cat Fanciers Association, and I thought that I could trust them. So I found this lady, and they had these two adorable kitties. So I contacted her, and she seemed nice. I had already been scammed twice off Facebook, so I thought I'd try this. Well, it's been a week, and I still keep getting the runaround. On her initial page, okay, let me even go before that. Before that, she couldn't get the contract to me. And when she finally did, of course, everything had to be printed out. I'm not sure why she hasn't updated it, but she didn't. So I finally printed it out. Takes me a little while to get around because of my ankle, which she obviously forgot about. And I filled out the paperwork, and then I had to hobble back and scan it back in and then send it to her. And then she said, as soon as we receive the holding fee, then everything's good. I thought, oh, okay. I thought she needed to call my references, call my vet, do all those things. I mean, I knew everything was fine, but I thought that's what we were waiting for. So I was like, okay, well, I didn't see where the holding fee was. And she said, it's down there. It's down in that first document. I'm like, oh, okay. Probably not the way I would handle things, but she seemed to be a little older than I was, and maybe that was part of the problem. And so I found how much the holding fee was. She made sure I knew where the address was. I saw the address. And she asked if I could send it through Zelle. Well, my bank doesn't send it through, it doesn't have Zelle available. And apparently that means that I'm an idiot, according to her. And I can't help it if my credit union doesn't take Zelle. On her page, in big letters, it says she takes Venmo. And I have Venmo, so I thought, okay, everything's good. And I told her, I said, I have Venmo. I can send that to you. I don't take Venmo. Okay. You don't have Zelle? No, I don't. Okay. She says, well, you can send a money order. And so I mean, there's just some strange things that were happening. Like she was acting like it was morning time and it was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon in Colorado, which would mean it would be 1 o'clock in Colorado or in California. So I wasn't sure. Some kind of these things have been going on all week, so I wasn't quite sure what was going on. It was like, yeah, I think I need to go home and just check a few things first. And she got really panicky and she's like, no, 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 I'm fine. I have been with the CFA forever. They know me. I've only had one problem. And they have, you know, they took care of it. We took care of it by ourselves. It was fine. There's no issues. We solved it ourselves. It was okay. I said, okay, that's fine. My husband's going to get the money order. He'll send it to you. And in between time, I was like, oh, I do have Cash App. And then she sent me the Cash App information. Well, in the meantime, my husband had gotten the money order and had overnight FedExed it to her working address, which is where she told me to send it to because that's where she goes every day for work. And it was a Friday, so she was getting it on Saturday. In between time, I was going from a cast to a walking boot. I still wasn't allowed to walk on my leg, and so I was transitioning and was still in a lot of pain and trying to do this. So my husband was helping me out. So I tried to explain all of this to her, and that's why my husband was doing this. My cast had come off, and that's why I was at home. And I had blood clots from this injury and a few other things. And this is, so I can't send it Cash App because he had already sent it to her. And I apologized and said, I am so sorry for that. I wish I would have known ahead of time. But I thought she took Venmo. And since she didn't, we did it this way. And then even though she had told me, just send me a copy of the money order and a copy of the receipt that went overnight, and she would hold the kitty for me, she couldn't do that. Because apparently her bank would not hold it because it had to be Rose. I can't remember her name. But her last name was Mansfield. So I didn't see that in very small letters underneath in the contract. I guess if I knew somebody was mailing a money order to me, I would make it very clear that this is the name that it should be written by, this is the address, and this is the amount. But that's just me. I'm very detailed oriented when it comes to that kind of thing. And then she told me tonight that normally they take less than an hour. And this was taking forever. But the bank said that it would be in her bank account tomorrow. So it had already cleared the bank. She told me it hadn't cleared the bank. The bank thought it was suspicious because it did say Rose on it. So apparently the bank didn't think it was suspicious. It was going to be in her account tomorrow. So what was the problem? There wasn't a problem. She was just holding on to my money. Now I'm going to add the rest of it in CapCut.